Welcome to How to Play a Sexy Yuri. This video covers the basics as well as some advanced tips to help you understanding how this monkey works. Yuri is a support character and can do very cool stuff that I will show you in detail. I will talk about his movement and then go through his abilities and their upgrades one by one. I'm going straight forward, so let's get started.
Launch sequence initiated!
Yuri, jump utility, max health 1350, health regeneration per second 10. Fly freely with Yuri's jetpack, press space to activate or deactivate. First thing to do on a way to be an awesome Yuri is to master turning on and off your jetpack by pressing the spacebar. While doing so, Yuri will drop. This movement option enables him not only to escape or engage faster, it's also possible to cancel jump pads and speed up your horizontal movement. You can jump around in air. When you have your jetpack off and you fall, turn your jetpack on, then immediately turn it off again. This is best done by pressing upwards with the W key to turn your jetpack on and the space bar to turn it off again. Repeating the same process with different heights, directions and timings will make your movement less predictable. When starting with Yuri, it's very frustrating flying with a constant speed in one direction while being chased down by a horde of monkey-hungry nouns. By turning off your jetpack, your down speed will increase rapidly, what makes it possible to escape your foes. While getting familiar with the sweet advantages of using the spacebar, always keep in mind that sometimes it's better to just fly, especially when hanging around platforms. The momentum of a falling Yuri can end up in an unwilling stop by landing on a platform. The speed of a falling Yuri can be used to his advantage when attacking an enemy. Spawning a bomb on your way down can transform you into a face-mining bastard. If you want to play more defensively, you can always turn your jetpack on and fly backwards, while you drop a mine that's covering your ass. When Yuri uses his laser, he will automatically stop. It doesn't matter if your jetpack is on or off. This also counts when snared, what can save you from falling into death when trapped in air. Be careful when stopping with laser when falling down. It will cost you a good timed jetpack launch to move back upwards without losing height. There are two ways to move with an active laser. One of them can be done by falling, then using the laser while crossing a platform. Yuri will move slowly down until he stops beneath the platform hitbox. The other way is by simply standing on moving platforms. An advanced technique would be stopping a fall with your laser over a moving platform. When this platform reaches your feet, you will automatically stand on it, following its movement. Though it's not a very useful move, it can give you a little more range on a fully charged laser.
Set laser to extra crispy!
Laser, attacks per second 5. Yuri fries his enemies with a concentrated beam of pure energy. Becomes stronger the longer the beam is maintained, with a minimum of 150 damage per second and a maximum of 200 damage per second. Pulls alarm pickups towards you. When Yuri's laser starts to shoot, it increases its damage over a short amount of time until a max. Try to charge when guessing an opponent will run into you and try to avoid unnecessary laser interruptions. By touching coins with your laser, you can collect them. Be always aware of your surroundings. Try to find a good spot to collect them on a quick stop, especially when you had to stay and shoot in place anyway. With the sleight hand, it's possible to steal coins in front of your enemy's feet, or wheels, or gelati, or whatever they have to walk. You won't be able to use wall or ground shots very often. Sometimes it's useful when dealing with flying droids while aiming for the ground ones on AI. I want to remind you that Yuri's laser starts on top of his head. Means it's better to shoot upwards because your character hitbox is further away from the end of your laser. It's like having a little bit more range when aiming for a target that's above you. Further, try to find spots on the map where you can stay behind the wall and your laser is out of cover, able to shoot. Giant Monocle. Increases the range of laser by 27%. Good to outrange stationary targets like weedlings. Good to hit multiple targets in front of a turret while having a safe distance. Best farming tool ever. Better zoning and teleport interruptions. 3 of 3 stars. Instant Charge Battery. Increases attack speed of laser by 11%. Good upgrade to push your damage per second. 2 of 3 stars. Resonance Amplifier. Increases the maximum base damage of laser by 13% if the laser is maintained longer. This upgrade is good when staying longer in a position and don't get interrupted by anybody, but that's rarely the case. 1 of 3 stars. Fly Swatter. Increases the base damage of laser by 20%. There are no special situations for this upgrade, and there are better damage upgrades. 1 of 3 stars. Hubble's Lens. Increases the minimum base damage of laser by 40% and the maximum by 30%. It's the best damage upgrade you can get and it's very recommended. 3 of 3 stars. Baby Yeti. Adds a slowing effect to your laser. Slows down enemies by 20%. Can be used as a detection against invisible characters or to help your clunky team to catch up to an enemy. But normally you want to go for Instant Charge Battery. 2 of 3 stars.
No match for superior mind!
Time Warp. Cooldown 15 seconds. Enables a time disrupting effect in a small bubble, which slows enemies and the projectiles down by 30% and speeds friendlies and the projectiles up by 10%. Lasts 3.5 seconds. Yuri can act much safer if he has his time warp ready. That's why you should try to save it for extreme situations. He will mostly die when he gets attacked and he can't use his time warp. Body block with an active bubble is very effective. Keep following the enemy's movement and cover it with a mine or laser the hell out of them. Chrono Rift. Reduce the cooldown of time warp by 2 seconds. You want to save this ability and that can take its time. Yuri is really not the type to force using time warp, because it's very ruinable for a long time, and 13% time reduction won't have such a great impact when you had to back off anyway. 1 of 3 stars. Regeneration Pot. Allied droids and astronauts inside your time warp are healed 45 health per second. You have a huge advantage in team fights and much more sustain. It's harder to snipe you. You are able to save your allies, you can push better and you can heal creep waves. But be sure there's no enemy around that can attack you right afterwards. 3 of 3 stars. Space-Time Continuity Device. Provides debuff immunity during time warp. This upgrade are for games where time warp gets often interrupted or cancelled. But normally you try to adjust your positioning during the fights and go for a more universal upgrade. 2 of 3 stars. Flash Forward. Allied robots and astronauts inside your time warp will move and fight 15% faster. You can pull off moves that can surprise the enemy. It's very good if your team comp is too slow to chase down opponents with a low life bar. Together with Time Primer you can kind of catch an enemy for your teammates. 3 of 3 stars. Potpack Deluxe with Banana. Adds a lifesteal effect to your laser while time warp is active. Heals 50% of the dealt damage. This is useful versus many targets like Wheeling Nest or to tank healer pushes. With enough targets and damage upgrades you are close to immortal for a short amount of time, what can be very surprising and can lead into a blowout. 2 of 3 stars. Time Primer. Increases slowing effect of time warp by 5%. It's a good late game upgrade to make your time warp win team fights in its range for sure. 3 of 3 stars.
I fling poo at you!
Mind Deploying. Cooldown 4 seconds. Enables mind deploying. Each mine deals 410 area damage when triggered or when they expire after 10 seconds. You have to get used to face mining in order to get better. Yuri becomes much more deadly if he knows how to get close to a node and take out his mines. The key to a successful face mine is often to abuse the forward momentum of enemies. If they want to get close to you and you have your cooldown ready, spawn a mine and fall towards your opponent. But don't be reckless. To know when his abilities are ready is a prerequisite, because some of them can counter you, like a froggy dash. The mine explosion hitbox is bigger than the mine hitbox. This can be used to push turrets. Placing a mine directly in front of a turret can zone out the enemy and will still hit the turret and the creep wave. Good players can space a mine very well, but can be surprised by a detonating mine because its lifetime is over. It happens rarely, but stay aware. You should have a feeling for your mine lifetimes, what gives you the advantage. It's possible to place a mine where the health creep spawns and bait an enemy to overcommit. Sometimes it can happen that the creep of a wave don't walk along with each other. Try to push them together before you drop a mine on them. Yuri's mines works best with allies that have a displacement effect. Titanium spikes. Increases the base damage of mines by 10%. Highly recommended upgrade. You can go for a piggy bank and buy both parts of the upgrade from the start. But it requires all coins you can get when dropping with your pot. 3 of 3 stars. Toaster timer. Increases the longevity of mines by 2 seconds. In the early game your zoning game gets much better, but the game moves its battlefield over the whole map, and so should you and your mines. 1 of 3 stars. Aerial springs. Makes mines bounce up and down. It's a good zoning tool, but it's harder to interact with your mines when dropped too high. Besides, high bouncing mines on droid lanes can make you miss a wave. Although it can be very good versus some air heavy characters. 1 of 3 stars. Mine Constructor. Reduce cooldown time on mines by 0.5 seconds. It will increase your damage per second and your zoning game. 2 of 3 stars. Carpet bombs. Increase the amount of mines placed by 2. Decrease the individual mine damage by 60%. Means it gives you a total damage increase of 20%, but the spawning hitbox is way smaller, what makes it harder to face mine, and you can't aim with mines anymore if you are too high. It can be good in certain matchups. 2 of 3 stars. Uranium spikes. Transform your mines after exploding into a health pack that heals for 100 health. Health packs have 60% the lifetime of mines. Carpet mines reduce the healing by 60%. This upgrade gives you a little more sustain, and face mines rewards you with the health. Especially good with fast allies with small life bar, because of the percentual heal. 2 of 3 stars. Yuri is hard to learn because of his movement that requires an additional key, but if you get used to air jumps and face mining, he can be very rewarding. The good use of farming laser can make you easily the richest node in the game. The correct mine deploying can make your enemies cry over the lost map control, and your saving time warp can make your allies loving you. He's hard work, but fun. In this sense, good luck and have fun. I wait for you on the battlefield.